ancient monk high in the Tibetan mountains that has reached an altered state near nirvana, kind of a blobvana, if you will. And there are rumors that he has attained a state of 0 calorie burn.
Couch body. Hello and welcome to Lunch Therapy. I am your host, Joel Marshall. Today is Interview Friday. This show occurs on Tuesdays and Fridays at noon. Fridays is Interview Friday. We have a great guest today. We have Karen Haber, who is an incredible comedian who has just hit the scene again in her second act. And she's got a show tonight. It's a taping. It's going on at the Crow, which is in Santa Monica. There's a link in the show notes. I don't know if there are tickets available. Those shows really sell out a lot. And this is something called Storyectomy. She's going to be there. If you can get over there, do it. And also, she's going to be at Flappers on Friday night. There you go. Yeah? Flappers? Anyway. Oh. I'm hearing something from the green room. Karen, yes. Saturday night, yeah. Tomorrow night, right? Tomorrow night at Flappers. All right, cool. All right, so let's get into the show. We've got a lot to talk about. This is Lunch Therapy. So Karen's in the green room with my assistant Boney. They are preparing for the show. I've got some really cool background. I mean, cool as in temperature because it's super hot where I am. I don't know about people out there. I don't know what it's like, but in Los Angeles, we got fires. We got all kinds of stuff. I watched the local news last night. I don't know if I recommend it. There was a guy who fell in a construction site and was stuck between two walls. They had to pull him out. There was a helicopter that landed on the freeway. There was somebody got shot in Hollywood. That kind of stuff raises the blood pressure, makes my shoulders tense. That's why we have something called Lunch Therapy, where we take a break from the crap and we talk about things that maybe are a little more positive, maybe ways that we can navigate our lives, ways we can be present. Breathing is a big, important facet of that, and that's what we're going to do next. We do this every show. We breathe. So glad to have everybody here today. I'm so excited about having Karen on the show. You know, Ginny Sykes told me about her, and she is really a force, and super excited to have her here. But first, I got to calm down. I got to take 3 deep breaths. I hope you all join me. In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Behind me, I have a healing vibration sound bath. In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. One more time. In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. And let it go. I happen to have a shirt on that has a capybara on it, the world's largest rodent. And it happens to say in through the nose, out through the toes. Those are available, I don't know where, but somewhere on my YouTube channel. Jenny Sykes is here. Hello? Hello, she says. Hello? There, she seems much more grounded after breathing. At first, before the breathing, she was like, hello? And then afterwards, she's like, hello. And that's what breathing will do for you. It's free. Doesn't cost anything. Jason Edelman is here. Wow, look at that shirt. It's cool, right? I made it. Well, Boney helped me. My assistant, Boney, he's a plastic skeleton. Let's move on. Thank you very much, Healing Vibrations, for your blessings and your oxygen. Next, we're going to listen to a little bit of an instrument called a gooball. Weird name, but it's another thing that's good for therapy. I don't know why. It just feels right. This is Sabina Shearer. She's one of the main founders of pan art, where they make, some people call them hand pans, but don't say that to pan art. They will not like it, because they came up with this instrument, and I'm going to let you enjoy it. You can breathe also during this portion of the show. Don't let me stop you. You can move if you want. That's what Boney does. He moves around while we play music. He can't help it. It's in his bones. All right, we better move along because we gotta get to the main event here, which is the interview. Thank you to Sabina Shearer, Pan Art. Check out their YouTube channel. It's cool stuff. Now we have our Patreons. This show could not happen without Patreons. I really appreciate you all. I have the names of the Patreons. Anybody who wants to become a Patreon on the show, patreon.com/Joel Marshall. It helps me get the show out there and also handle some of the expenses of doing this show. So I really appreciate all of you. You can go to patreon.com and you can donate like $5 a month, or I don't know, whatever you want. $500,000 a month you could do if you wanted to. That would be super helpful. All right, let's get into this thing called Lunch Therapy Interview Friday. Okay, so behind me I have I don't know, hedgehog? No, not a hedgehog. That is a gopher. I think it's a gopher. Maybe somebody in the chat room knows what it is, but he looks like he's going to jump me. I don't know, but it's his place. I'm just here introducing Karen Haber. Karen Haber is an incredible comedian. Like I say, Jenny Sykes told me about her, and she is somebody that was a regular at the Comedy Store. Mitzi Shore tapped her years ago to be a regular, which is like a huge deal. And she was making her living as a comedian for a long time. Kind of came up with a lot of the people that you love from that time. And Matt Wright says it's a grass hog. That's what it is. It's a grass hog. Yeah. So at some point she adopted two baby girls, and she focused on that and raised these baby girls. And now she is back on the scene taking Hollywood by storm. And I got to tell you, I really love her comedy. I'd have to say, it is like she has the ability to like weave her comedy into a narrative that is captivating, charming, and full of love, you know. And oftentimes it seems absurd, but it also might be her life. I don't know. We're going to have to ask her about it. And the other thing about it is it encapsulates some kind of deeper meaning that I think anybody can relate to. And sometimes she brings up issues like the cost of prescription drugs and things like this that are actually, you know, things that we think about every day and issues in our society. So that's kind of cool. I don't know whether she does that just naturally or what, but she also is a vegan and somebody who's very conscious about the way she lives. So one other thing, she's a metalsmith, which of course is dear to my heart because my dad also is a metalsmith. Let's get into this thing. Interview Friday.
Hi, everybody. This is what it looks like when you stay too long at Coachella. I'm only 28 years old. And I have purpose in my life. I like to spread love, I like to do comedy, and I want to stick it to the man. Also, I want a facelift.
I love that. Karen Haber, welcome to Lunch Therapy.
Hi, Joe.
Hi. So great to have you here. I had said that thing about how, some of your comedy is very socially relevant. Do you do that on purpose, or is that something that just kind of happens naturally with you?
Well, I don't know. Like, it's true. Like that, I tell that long story, but everything is true.
Yeah.
And the show I'm doing tonight is an amazing story, and everything is true. And my next story that I'm working on that I want to get up there is about women's rights from this. I was on a jury. Could you believe it?
Really?
And I got off the jury for being a misbehaving juror. But I wasn't misbehaving. I was helping.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to talk about that.
Oh, wow. That sounds interesting.
And most of my jokes are just silly.
Well, that's what I like about it too, is not only what I enjoy about your comedy is it's a narrative. It's not like just a bunch of jokes. It's like a narrative story you're telling oftentimes, but it's also got great structure to it. And so the audience knows, where to laugh, and they're just having a great old time, and you can tell from the audience. But also it encapsulates an entire story. So you feel like, I don't know. The other thing is it's oftentimes seems absurd, and you don't seem to be afraid to go out into the absurd, but you kind of bring us along because it's so grounded in reality. That's what I think. How do you go about crafting your comedy? And is it different from how you did it when you were younger?
Okay, first of all, thanks for having me on your show.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for saying so much nice stuff about me.
Well, I think you're kind of a unique and powerful person, and somebody that we want in this community. You know what I mean? That it's a great part of this community.
I love our community.
Yeah.
And then I went to a comedy class recently, and they gave you an absolute structure of how to write jokes. And it was expensive and not in my budget, but I did it anyway.
Yeah.
And the class was a lot of fun, and I loved the teacher so much, and I love all my classmates. But I didn't write one joke the way you're supposed to write the jokes. And I don't know how I write my jokes, but I don't think anybody can tell me how to write my jokes. My jokes just pop out of me.
And how do you feel like does that give you a sense that you don't have control of them, or control when you need to write? Like if somebody said, I need you to write a joke for tonight, is it more difficult?
Because I'm trying to write when I'm thinking about a situation. I try to present it in a funny way.
Do you start out? How do you start? I mean, I think just a lot of comedians, especially ones that are just kind of starting out today and don't have as much experience as you do, because one of the things I didn't say on the thing is that also you've gone out and been a road comic. So you know the whole comedy scene from start to finish. And so what is the process? Because a lot of times comedians feel like they feel pressure to write more material. So where do you start? Or do you know?
That just happens.
Yeah. I know that you and I met through Ginny, but then I saw you at the Fourth Wall, and I've seen you there quite a bit. Do you find these open mics to be really useful?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And it's different than it used to be. Right?
Well, I never did open mic before because I worked at the store.
Yeah.
7 nights a week and other clubs too. So
Yeah.
I don't even know if they had open mics or if, I don't know when they were invented, but I'm glad they have them now. And I go to them all the time because when I came back to stand up 2 years ago, I was terrible. And I was afraid of the audience.
Really?
Yeah. Even at open mic with 4 people, I was afraid of those 4 people. And, but I did over 200 of them to get my craft back.
Wow.
So, yay, open mics. Thank you, open mics.
Yeah. Thanks to people like Joe Menente out there that keep these things going.
Joe Menente. Shout out to Joe Menente.
Yeah. Ginny Sykes says, does Karen keep a notebook or write her thoughts down when a joke comes to her? Does she have have a time of day that you sit down and write?
I don't have a time of day I sit down and write, but I would like to. I would like to write first thing in the morning, but that's when I go to Pilates. Mm-hmm. And I stopped doing Pilates for a month, and I wrote so much every morning. I thought I have to go back to Pilates or I'm going to fall apart. So I went to Pilates. So I should get up. I should be one of those people who get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning and write, and then go to Pilates. But then I would have to schedule in a really big nap. Then to go out at night.
Yeah. Do you now? You said back in the day you were doing 7 nights a week at the Comedy Store. What did you do? Like, I guess Mitzi saw you at the mic and you were a regular. How did that happen? I'm just curious. Did it happen like right away, or did you do that for a while?
I'm an actress.
Yeah.
And people were always telling me, oh, you should be a stand-up comic. You should do stand-up comedy. I ignored it because I didn't really know stand-up comedy. I didn't stay up late, so I never saw late night. My parents didn't stay up late, so I didn't grow up watching late night. I really didn't know anything about comedy. But there was this girl in my acting class whose husband was a comedian.
Yeah? And what happened?
He kept telling me to do it. It was Robin. And he kept telling me, do it, be a comic. You could be a Jewish princess comic. I had no idea what he was talking about. But I wasn't getting any acting work. Mm-hmm. And I was in acting class with Ivana, who you know.
Yes.
Ivana Chubbuck.
Yeah.
So I wrote what I thought.
So Robin Williams convinced you to do comedy. Wow, that's interesting. Wow.
Just like you convinced Ginny Sykes.
Yes, I convinced her.
So I wrote stuff down over the next couple of months that I thought was funny. were cute-ish. I didn't know. Like my first joke was, my name is Karen Haber, and I come from a large Jewish family, 2 children. I wrote all these other jokes, and there was a guy in my acting class who's a comedy writer, who's really good, named Mark Sotkin. And I went, and I interviewed, well, he knew me from comedy, not from comedy, from the class, but we didn't really know each other. But I talked to him and asked him if he would listen to my joke ideas. And we sat down at his house, and I had my little basket up with all these scrap papers of when I wrote them, and then put them in the basket. And he liked all the jokes, and he put them in an order. There was one joke he didn't like. He said, never do that joke. It's terrible. and I did it, and I didn't like it, and I wasn't going to go back.
Oh, what was it about it that you didn't like?
The lights in my eyes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I still didn't like that. And so, because you can't see the people. And at mics, you can see everybody.
Yes, you can.
So my friend Richard said, oh, do it one more time. I missed it. And I went, Richard, I'm just not. And he kept saying it. And I said, well, okay, then you have to stand online with me outside. It's really boring. And he came with me, and we stood online. And I got up, and Mitzi was there, and she made me a non-paid waiver.
Your second time? Was that your second time? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That is...
I loved her so much. She was so good.
Oh my God, the crowd's going wild. Was Cynthia Levin there at the time? Was she also doing comedy?
Not right away, but yes.
Yeah. Were there a lot of... Yeah, she's
One
great.
of my favorite people in the universe, and I talked to her a lot.
Yeah, I love her too. She's the one that got me into comedy.
You're kidding?
No.
Oh, I have to talk to her about this.
Yeah, I went to see a friend do comedy, and I said, I'd like to do that too. And she was like, talk to her, and pointed to Cynthia. And she's just an invaluable resource, to comedians. And also somebody that really helps you find your voice and really has you kind of speak from the truth, which I think is a great place to start, to speaking from your truth. What's different about that time and now as far as the comedy community, do you think?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I love the comedy community and all the people I see at the mics and the shows. And I just like everybody so much. And I have so many friends now. And I really like that. I think that's one of the absolute best parts of comedy is the comics.
Yeah.
The comics.
Hanging out with comics is fun.
Yeah, it's the best.
I'm going to play another clip of yours. It's about diet, because I love to talk about diets myself. Let's play it.
So you guys, I was on a diet for a really long time, and I finally got to my goal weight. So I ordered a 2-piece bathing suit online because I thought it was going to look really good. And the bathing suit came, and I tried it on, and I looked really bad. And I'm just telling you this, because if anybody here is working on your body or trying to lose weight, just kill yourself now to save time.
Oh my God. I love that. I love to talk about diets and things like that, but I mean, I think as actors, we've got a real problem with our body image. Do you think?
Well, I'm obsessed with my diet. I'm obsessed with staying thin. I weigh myself every day.
You do? Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah. Oh, you do?
Yeah. I mean, that's embarrassing, but I do. I weigh myself every day because if I don't, one day I'll get on the scale and be like, oh my God, what happened?
How much did you weigh today?
178.
Is that good or bad for you?
If I'm in the 170s, I feel okay. If I'm in the 180s, and this is just my own body dysmorphia. You know what I mean? If I'm in the 170s, I feel like I'm okay. If I get into the 180s, I start to go, danger, danger. So, but I'm probably better off even lower, like in the 170 area. But I just can't get there. It's just really hard for me. I think about it all the
do you
time.
get to the 160s?
I was 165 once, and I was like, and I actually felt like great because all my clothes fit, or loose and all that stuff. But it's, it's a little bit of a mania. And I feel like I was 165 for about 5 minutes, like I spent so long getting there, and I was still not completely happy. And then then I was like, I don't know what happened. Then a couple months later, I look and I'm, back up to 175 or whatever. I was a fat kid though. I don't know about you.
I was.
You were.
I was singularly the biggest, fattest kid in my whole elementary school. And I used to be called Apple Face.
Really?
And I didn't like it.
I was called Roly Poly Jolie.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And people would just, I don't know. Everybody I knew was super fit though, for some reason. And I don't think it was because I was doing anything differently. I think it just is my body type that I was a little bit more difficult for me. But I don't know. I've spent too much time thinking about this in my life. You know what I mean?
I think it's calories in, calories out.
Yes, I believe, that and like fasting, intermittent fasting. But the thing is, some people can eat all kinds of crazy things and they still stay thin. And also, I think our bodies process things differently. I think there's different things that affect us in different ways. Like if I eat a bunch of bread or I eat a bunch of pizza or something like that, I will blow up like a balloon. Whereas other people, it doesn't seem to be the case. You're a vegan though, right?
Yes.
How long have you been a vegan?
Oh, well, I've been a vegetarian since I'm a teenager.
Oh, wow.
Because I didn't realize all the cruelty in dairy and eggs. So I would have yogurt and I would eat eggs. But then I found out how all the cruelty starts with milk and dairy.
Really?
When they enslave these little girl cows.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say it in your show how terrible it is. And
It is terrible.
And with the birds too. People forget chickens are funny, wonderful little birds that like to tell jokes to each other and hang out. So then now I've been so I was a vegan. But then my doctor said, oh, your cholesterol is going too low. You have to be a vegetarian again. So I did it. But he was wrong. And now I've been a vegan for about 13 years again. And my cholesterol is really low, which is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I still wasn't skinny because I ate junk food too.
Junk food vegetarian. That's what I was, a junk food vegetarian.
I wasn't a junk food vegetarian in that vegan in that I ate all junk food.
Yeah.
But I ate enough to keep me bigger. And then I stopped eating junk food. I stopped eating sugar. And I went to nothing but whole foods. And since then, I feel so good.
Wow, that's great. Equal means equal is asking you how much you weigh. How tall are you? Are you willing to say? I mean, you're one of the skinniest people I know, so I don't think it's a problem.
This morning, I actually put on a pound.
Yeah.
I was 108.
Oh, wow.
I usually fluctuate between 106 and 107. But when I say 106 and 107, there's points because it's a digital scale. So 106.8 or 107.4, I'm even Steven. And I'm not sure about my height. First of all, I've always lied about my age, my weight, and my height every single day of my life since I was really young.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
There's certain things I don't talk about because I'm a liar. And I used to say I think the tallest I ever said I was 5'6.5", which I was not. But I'm not that tall.
You're not that tall. I like it. Matt Wright says comedy has room for lots of bodies. I think that is very true.
Me too.
I think probably the actor side of me is the more vain side of me. You know, because when you go to that costume fitting and they give you a costume and it's like too tight or something like that, or you feel like, and then you start to get stressed out. I don't like that feeling, but it happens to me, you know, it happens.
Mine's just from being, first of all, apple face, and then reading fashion magazines all the time.
Oh my God, that'll really kill you.
And they were my fantasy model for a body.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've got this warped perception, but at the same time, if you're an actor or somebody who's in the public eye, you're probably going to be expected to be in those magazines, you know? And, I mean, if you're doing really well, but also there's a lot of Photoshop these days. So maybe you don't have to worry about these things as much. You spend so much time worrying about it.
I just had these pictures done, and I don't know how to use Photoshop, but my friend guided me on this AI site. Shout out to Orkin. And I sat at her house a couple of weeks ago. We were there all night retouching these 3 pictures of me. And now when I look at them, I just laugh because I retouched. I did too much. I look like a little cherub.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I'm leaving him.
I don't think we can be. I don't think we're responsible enough to retouch our own pictures or choose our own pictures a lot of times.
Yeah.
Because what we present to people might not be exactly what we look like. Matt Wright says, has anybody figured out what's funny about a rubber chicken? What's the latest research on that?
I don't know.
Nothing is. Well, at least it's rubber and not a real dead chicken, I guess. All right, so now I'm going to play this CVS bit that you do. And I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I'm going to play a good portion of it. It's like 2 minutes long because I just really enjoy this. This is Karen, and you are, I'm not sure if you're at Flappers or where you are, but one of these clubs.
CVS.
Ah, yes.
Is a big, greedy corporation that has been overcharging me for my prescription for 10 years. And every time I go to the pharmacy window, the pharmacist always says to me, "Do you know how much this cost?" Because it costs $139. And when anything is that expensive, they always give you a warning so to know in case you don't want to be healthy. And I always say to her, "Hey, don't you have a coupon or a program or something so I can get a better price?" And she always goes, "No, that's the price." And then I found out I could have been getting my prescription at CVS the whole time for $39. So every time I've been there, they have taken $100 from me. So now every time I go back there, I want to take $100 worth of stuff.
Yes. Woo.
I'm talking about the CVS in Studio City on Ventura Boulevard on the north side of the street. So far, I've gotten an orange spiral notebook, a yellow spiral notebook, a bag of cashews, 6 eye makeups, and my pièce de resistance, a fake fur Hello Kitty notebook with a unicorn on the cover. That costs $19.99. $19.99 for a Hello Kitty notebook. They're asking for it. Viva the revolution. To me, sophisticated shoplifting. CVS is the man.
We can't go to that one yet. I love that. I love that bit because it's relevant, you know, and it fires up the audience too because they're like, "This is bullshit." You know?
Yeah.
Did you? Okay. Did you ever like just go to open mic and just rant about this, or how did this particular routine develop?
It came from a rant. Yeah.
Yeah, it came from a rant. Huh?
But I was just, and then after that, I always go and I just write everything down.
Yeah,
and
that's right. Yeah.
No matter if I'm typing on the screen or writing in a notebook, I think there's magic from mind to hand to paper. Because then all these things appear that are really great, and that's how I write.
Yes. What do you think it is about that mind to hand?
I don't know, but it's very powerful.
Sometimes it feels like you're. This is weird to say, but sometimes it feels like you're channeling ideas. You know what I mean? Like there's things being between mind to hand. There's things coming in that you're not like aware of, and you're like, oh, that's a good one. You know, do you? I feel like the next step for comedians of like my level is organization. Because I feel like organization is, because you have all these thoughts and you do these open mics and you do these things, but they can just go flying off into nowhere if you don't grab them and put them in some kind of order.
And not only that, the second you have an idea, like if you're lying in bed in the morning or you're driving or you're talking to your friends and you say something funny,
yeah,
you think you're going to remember it, but you never
do. Yes.
So don't play that game with yourself. Write it down immediately.
I find it's helpful, you know, when I started doing comedy, which is, I don't know, a decade ago or something, I was trying to keep things, trying to go back over material and, you know, keep working it. And I found it more difficult. I found it less difficult now because I actually put it out there on the internet a lot of times, or I will record it with my phone. And for me, that's the way I kind of capture it. Because, you know, a lot of times at an open mic, you might say something that just is off the cuff. And then later you forget it, like you're saying. You totally forget it. What was that thing? And then, but if you have the footage, the game films, you can go back and look at them. You know?
When you do an open mic,
yeah,
don't you listen to it on the way home?
I always do.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. What I do is I record it. And, you know, I went to Chicago and I set up my little phone and my little tripod. I was doing a mic there. And some people started giving me shit about it. They were like worried that I was filming them for one thing when I was just setting it up, you know, we were doing like a bunch of us were doing it. And then, when I was doing it, I just felt like they thought, oh, here's Hollywood guy. He's so arrogant. He's videoing himself. But it's not that. It's like, I want to make sure if just something comes out that's good, I want to make sure I capture it, you know, so that I have it.
That's your university.
That's my university. Or like football players watch game films and they're like, oh, I could do better in that.
You have to.
And I like to video it because I feel like the physical is a lot of times just as important as what's coming out of your mouth, you know?
Me too, but I wish I could tape and film at the same show. Because when I voice record it, I put down the jokes in the description. Mm-hmm. But there's no place that I know, but I don't know how to keep track of my jokes on film. That really upsets me because I have 2 years of videos and I have no idea what's on them, and they're on my phone and it's a big mess.
Yeah. That's why I upload them to some kind of video service. Lately, I just use YouTube and I just have it as an unlisted video. and then I can go back and look at them. It's not maybe the best way, but it's the way that I found. And then sometimes I just put them out there, and I put out the shorts of these things, and I can see the progression of a particular joke. And I think it's much more acceptable now than it used to be. Like, there was a moment in time where they were like, don't put all your jokes on the internet because then nobody's going to come to see you. But I don't find that that's the case.
No, that's like telling a singer, don't do that song, then nobody will come see you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I thought it was really interesting what you said, and maybe I led you to it, but the idea of ranting about something and then later going back and shaping it because you have a passion about it. If the thing about the prescription drugs, that's like a big issue for a lot of people. It's because it's so expensive. In fact, recently the president has done something about it, but it just seems like we're all getting, raked over the coals and there's nothing we can do about it. So that...
They're fixing it.
Yeah, they're fixing it. So that can ignite an audience, but it also can ignite a conversation that goes beyond you just doing comedy, Somebody sees your comedy routine about that, and they're like, I feel the same way. They do rake me over the coals over there, and they're so they take no responsibility for it.
And guess what? Okay, there's 3 guys after us. There's the drug makers.
Mm-hmm.
They want to bleed us dry.
Yeah.
There's the insurance companies.
Oh, yeah.
They want to take all our money and not give us the benefits. And then CVS, for example, they set their own prices.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And there's price gouging going on and things like that. Like that, and they've got supermarkets recently admitting to have been price gouging through COVID, raising the price of bread and things that we needed,
Right. There was no inflation. Inflation was corporate greed gouging.
And I think that there's definitely a place for this in comedy. And if you can make it funny, you can get so many messages out there that, that people are being entertained by, but also it brings us together because we're all like, I feel the same way, rather than this dividing. And I think that's also where your kind of purpose. I love the fact that you state a purpose, and your purpose is love. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And it's your comedy can ride on that, and that goes beyond just jokes. Brings people together, gets messages out. Because you're an activist as well, right? Yeah. And you have an incredible talent, so you can utilize that however you wish, for good or for bad. Now, I want to ask you this. I think this deserves a bumper. So when you... Oh, thank you. When you took a break from comedy to raise 2 children, that's a beautiful purpose. And you also, did you become a metalsmith at that time? Or when did you start working with metal? And what made you do that?
I started metalsmithing probably 10 years ago.
Yeah. And was that... I'm just wondering if that was something where you were like, I have all this creative energy, but I'm not doing stand-up. Or I don't know if you were acting at the time. Did you put that into this different art form?
The last 15 years or more, I didn't do anything. And I'm so glad I'm doing stuff again. And I was doing stuff, but my first thing that I did when my kids were toddlers, I started teaching yoga. And then I guess after that, I did the metal. So much fun. Oh my God.
What brought you to that?
Because I like jewelry. So I thought, well, I can make my own jewelry. And I just got crazy.
Yeah.
Because, you look at the jewelry in the store, but I realized I don't like that kind of jewelry. Well, that.
Oh, yeah. I
And
know.
then I just, oh, that's
Here's
my
some, yeah, here's some stuff here. Let me see if I can get it on the screen. There's some of your, there's you with your work, but I have
yeah.
other pictures here of your work,
I used to sell at What's Down.
which I
I'm
think is
better.
beautiful. There you go.
Okay, I love those so much. I got sick of making jewelry. And so I decided I was going to make flatware.
Wow.
And this is what it ended up coming out like.
It's cool. It's really cool.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, it's
And
really nice.
those spoons, they're so hard to make because there's so much heat. And you have to tie your hair back and get it out of the way because you're using two big torches at one time sometimes. And it's so hot and you look so unattractive and you just keep going and going and going. And then I don't know how the driftwood happened, but there's no driftwood here. And I used to get my driftwood from these two sisters in Northern California who lived near the beach that was against an ancient forest. That's where the driftwood is.
Wow.
Here at the LA beaches.
Yeah, there's
Is
something
there-
beautiful about the wood too, how it is
Yeah.
weathered in that way and becomes kind of solid.
It's gorgeous, isn't
It's
it?
gorgeous. And then the metal that you've done seems like it's a part of the same growth. It's beautiful. I love
Thank
it.
you. I love those spoons.
Sven de Kock is on. He says Bob Dylan is very much into welding and metal gates. I didn't know that about Bob Dylan. That's interesting. Okay, so Equal Means Equal says, do you have any advice or tips on that? What, on metalworking? Do you have any
You
advice on that?
Got to go to the workshop.
That's how you started?
Learn how to be safe. Because that's, I got kicked out of class a few times because I have really bad attention problems. And so I wasn't safe and they made me leave the class. So you have to be really careful and be safe. And then you have to be really, really good at begging to get back in.
All right, so now we're going to go into one other thing here, which is we had a person on the show, Richard Dawson, who was talking about, he has something called third act solutions, which is about the second and third act of your life and starting again. And Equal Means Equal had a question here. Do you have any advice on getting back into the business after a long break?
Do open mics.
Do open mics. And that's for if you're going to be a stand-up. Yeah, just kind of get going. What about actors? And do you see yourself acting again?
Yes.
Yeah.
When I decided I wanted to come back and do stand-up again, it was 2 years ago. Well, no, I started 2 years ago, but it was a few months before that. The Comedy Store invited me to come to the 50th anniversary. And I went with all my old friends, and it felt so good. And I thought, what? I want. And so I wrote this story. I didn't know how to write a joke. I didn't remember how to write a joke. I didn't know what to write about. But I wrote a story about this volunteer work I do with the homeless community. And I thought, someday I'm going to tell this story on stage. And that's what I'm doing tonight.
Oh,
I
wow.
manifested it.
You manifested it.
So I would say to everybody, just be clear, know exactly what you want to do, and then do everything to lead up to it.
Do all the steps to lead up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't just sit and dream about it. You have to write the story. Then I had to practice it. I found out it was terrible, that my story wasn't funny. And then I would do other stuff, but I never stopped working. I just kept going because that was what I wanted to do.
I feel like now Richard Lawson, when he was on, he was talking about visualizing and then stepping back from it and say, what are the steps that take me to get to that? And then you just start on that path. And I think that's really practical. And the other thing that I guess later in life I've realized about this business or being an artist is that you kind of need to get traction. And when I say that, I mean, you have to start doing. You can't just like keep practicing. You have to start doing it. So however you can do it. And I think that's one of the things that got me into stand-up comedy too, was like, I can perform any night I want if I do stand-up comedy, because it doesn't require anybody else. I mean, maybe just a little bit of stage time, or, you know, even with the fourth wall and things like that, you can even pay $5 and go do it. But then you're doing it. And you're not just thinking about doing it or preparing to do it. You're actually doing it. And then you're on the path.
You're the writer, you're the director, you're the star, you're everything.
Yeah.
And you can do whatever you want.
And it's also a great practical path to lots of other performing opportunities, whether they be performing and writing and creative opportunities. Like sometimes I saw an interview with you where you were talking about how someone wanted to develop a show from a stand-up act that you did. This was a long time ago. But that's the kind of thing that happens, you know. You're doing your routine about this, and then all of a sudden somebody else, maybe that you collaborate. Do you collaborate with people very often? Or are you looking towards doing that?
I don't collaborate. Like, I don't know, like when my friends have jokes, I try to fix them and make them better, and they try to help me too.
So working together with, are you careful about who you take advice from?
I don't know.
Because, you know, sometimes people want to give you advice and something can stick in your head that someone said. Like I remember one time I was playing guitar and singing on the internet. Someone said to me, you know, you got to pick a lane. They didn't basically say that, but they kind of did to me. And it was kind of like, I was like, screw that. I don't got to pick a lane. But then I kind of didn't do it anymore. And it's like little things like that. You know, if you're not careful, they're like weeds, at least for me. They're like weeds that get in there.
At the beginning of the show, was that you singing?
Oh, yeah, that's me singing
That
the
was
theme
great.
song.
I love that music, Joel.
Oh, thank you.
I
love music. I love music.
Me too. I think everyone does.
Yeah, who doesn't, right?
West African music. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, yeah.
And yours sounded West African.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I've always enjoyed music and I love music. There's a part of me though that goes, you just can't sing or whatever, you know what I mean? Or you're terrible at it. And so I just try and do it on my own, I guess. But I try not to incorporate it in too many things. But I kind of think, screw that. You got to like do what you love doing, you know? And damn the torpedoes. I don't know what that means, but sounds good. Sounds good. I promised to get you out of here by 1, and we're kind of at the end here. We've got the dance break coming up where we play a song. But is there anything else that you wanted to mention? I am very interested in your daily practice and whether you have like routines. Like you said the thing about Pilates. Do you have routines? Do you feel like routines are good? Do you have to break your routines sometimes? How do you stay present? Like what are the things that you do for your mental health and your creative health?
I always try to be positive. I don't mean I am all the time, but that's what I really try to do. I try to be positive. I try not to be judgmental, and I'm very judgmental, but I try not to be. And I love to write jokes. I love writing. And then I can't wait to get out and see how it went. That's like my favorite thing. And I like to.
Do you find, go ahead.
Well, that clip that you showed of it flappers, that's my favorite times I've been on stage because one of my oldest kid was there.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first time they saw me do stand-up.
Really?
And it was a crusher, really good show.
Yeah, if you were loving it.
When it was over, they got up, they stood up at the end of my set when I was walking on stage and just came up to me and stood in front of me, just like when they were a toddler.
Beautiful.
And I got to experience something with Lily that we hadn't experienced together in so long.
Yeah.
Where she was baby and I was mommy. And there was just so much love shooting between us. It was so amazing.
That's beautiful. I think we're going to end the show on that. Thank you so much for being here. This has been a real treat for me, and I know for the viewers as well. I look forward to...
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yes. Thanks for agreeing to do this. I know you have a big show tonight, and I know there's a lot of preparation that goes into that. So I really appreciate you taking the time. And I look forward to the work that is to come from you and possibly doing shows with you. So that would be...
I hope so.
Great. Yeah.
I hope so. Thanks for validating me so much. You made me feel really good about myself.
Well, I think you deserve it. Everyone deserves validation. But I think that you are a unique and huge talent. That's what I think.
Sure.
All right. Well, let's do this thing. We're going to dance break. I do want to acknowledge Matt Wright said he thinks I'm a great singer, and he is a great singer. So I really appreciate that coming from you, Matt. Onward and upward, as they say. So I'm going to play. I'm going to play Beth Hart. Beth Hart is doing a Led Zeppelin song. I'm just going to play a little bit. I just love this woman's power. She's a wonderful performer. They might tell me that I'm in trouble for playing her, but I just want to play a little bit, and I think we'll be okay. All right, and we're going to dance it out with some Black Dog, Led Zeppelin, Beth Hart, jamming it out. This is Beth Hart playing Black Dog.
Hey, mama, steady will move, gonna make you sweat, gonna make you grow. I shine where you shake that thing, gonna make you burn, gonna make you stay. Hey, shine when you walk that way, watch your honey drip, can't keep.
Do you know Beth Hart? Have you heard of her before? I have to hear what you're saying. What did you say? I got to stop for a second.
She's one of my all-time favorites because she has this song that I love so much. I can't think of the name of it, but it's about LA. It's a song about LA. And when you hear it, you just want to be in LA and live in LA and be part of LA forever.
Oh my gosh. I feel bad about stopping her, but that's a great story. I'm going to have to look that up. God bless Beth Hart. Let's keep it going. All right. We're going to dance it out. We'll see you all next week on Lunch Therapy. So much power.
Can't get my fill. Eyes that shine, burning red, dreams of you all through my head.
All right. Right at 1 o'clock. We'll see you all next week. This has been Lunch Therapy.